for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here, back to another video, and today we bring you guys Wesley's gun bunch offset offensive scheme. Now this is going to be very updated. I've done a couple of videos on bunch offset, but they're very out of date now. A lot has changed in the game, in the meta, so we're going to be going over some of those unique setups that he ran in his games in the club championship. Now, we're only going to go over a couple of plays. He didn't run too many plays. Obviously, if you want to see the full offense, like every single play out of Gun Bunch, you could buy his ebook. But again, I'm just going based off of what he ran in the club championship. Now, here's a look at what his audibles were. Now, he didn't run two of these plays. He didn't run double post at all or PA dig fork in the game that I watched. So we're going to be replacing those with a couple of plays that he did run, which are mesh post and spacing switch. So here's the four plays we're going over. Z spot and go is going to be the main focal point of the offense. Now, also a couple of abilities to mention. He did use Hot Route Master with that Rich Gannon, also with Gunslinger. So I do recommend you get Gunslinger. If you can, get Hot Route Master because it's really going to be beneficial to you. You can just do so much with it and save AP. I highly recommend you get that Hot Route Master ability. Also, he used Playmaker. Now, nobody in regs gets Playmaker, so I can't show you all the Playmakers that he did. But I'll kind of bring up and mention where he Playmakered this receiver. And the Playmaker, again, is always on this outside, solo side receiver of the gun bunch. But overall, with that being said, let's just go ahead, hop straight into it. I'm going to be adjusting through coverages, cover 3, cover 2, man coverage throughout the video. And yeah, we're going to start out in this Z spot and go. Again, the main play of the offense. Let's just go ahead, get straight into it. Alright, here we are out on the field now, starting out in this Z spot and go. Now, just running this play stock, it is not very good. With most of these plays, you take one route that you like, two routes that you like, and build around them, hot route around them. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing with this. We're going to be building around this corner route with RB. Now, it doesn't look too good, but that's because you smart route it. Now, when you smart route it, it becomes super short and can cut up field. It also beats man coverage. If you get that route tech ability, it also beats it stock. But it just gets into a really good spot of the zone, makes it difficult to defend. Now, for our first setup, what we're going to do is we're going to drag X. We're going to block our running back, and then we're going to streak our tight end and put B on an out route. Just like this. Pretty simple setup. Now, here in this Z spot and go play is where he would go ahead and Playmaker a lot. Obviously, when you have a drag running to the same direction as an out route, you kind of do have to go ahead and Playmaker that receiver. So usually he would Playmaker the drag to the left side once he got to around right here in this little hash. But yeah, overall, even if you don't have Playmaker, the setups still work. So we'll just go ahead, we'll snap the ball like so. You see the corner out, just look how good it gets. And obviously these are kind of stock coverages. I'm not going to set up a defense that they were running every single time because that would take too long, but you see how the corner out would get open. Let's switch to man coverage. Man coverage, just a basic man coverage. Again, the setup for our first play is going to be X on a drag, streak your tight end, and be on an out route. We get a little bench concept on that right side, the backside drag, and the tight end as a clear out will put stress on the strong safety and open up our sideline. So again, we'll snap the ball. This is man coverage. Now, the receivers did get bumped a little bit. You see how they would get separation. If that happens, I do recommend you go ahead and motion out that outside receiver on an out route. So he kind of got cleared out. It was a little bit congested in there. And if that's happening to you, the simple solution is to just motion out Antonio Brown so these routes aren't colliding at all. So we're going to motion him out just a step here. And then we get that separation, and boom, look at that. So again, obviously Chris Godwin has abilities. Now, because they have the strong safety there, you can't lob it. But if there was no safety elbow over the top, you see how much separation he had. We're going to move on to our next setup, though, because we do have a good handful of setups out of this play. We have around 5. Most of them are just changing one route here or there, but again, nonetheless, 5 setups. So anyways, with that being said, we're going to do something a little bit different now. Now, our next setup is going to be kind of similar, but we're just going to be flipping a couple of routes. What we're going to do here is we're going to put X on a drag, we're going to block our running back, and we're actually going to put B on a streak, smart out RB, and we're going to leave our tight end on the flat now. So here's a look. Instead of the out route, we have the flat route, and then we have our outside receiver on a streak. I believe this helps with like cover 3. Which we are in right now, so we'll just go ahead and run it. You also want to motion Antonio Brown out pretty far right here. You see I can check down. Again, this is a situation where I'm going to playmaker that outside receiver back to the left side or up the field. I can either playmaker him up directly or back to the left. So a couple of things I can do. Again, here's a look at our setup. Just smart out RB, block your running back, streak B, and drag X. Pretty simple. Again, going to be good against man coverage. If they were to do something like this, where they put like that strong safety in a flat zone, then I could motion him out and get space. You see how Antonio Brown also kind of gets a little bit of space on that streak, which will happen sometimes as we get a terrible animation, but yeah, overall, pretty good setup. One more time, though. Here is a look at what we're going to go ahead and do. Again, motion Antonio Brown out. Sometimes against man coverage, you can get a little bit of separation on that, but you see corner out still gets wide open. Now, you can get this corner out even more open if you're in like a 2nd and 2, a 2nd and 5, a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5, whatever. Because then when you smart out, it gets even shorter and just becomes even a little bit better. All of these practice mode plays are simulated in 1st and 10 situations, so we're smart routing based upon 10 yards. So obviously certain downs and distances will change the trajectory of the routes, but not too big of a deal in practice mode. We're going to move on to another setup. And with this setup, we're going to just do something different with our tight end. We're going to keep our streak the same, but what we're going to do here is set it up very similar. All we're going to do, again, is change our tight end. For our first setup, we're just going to throw him on a post. So here's a look. We have that corner streak and backside drag. I can create another high-low read if I playmaker him back to the left side, but we're just going to motion AB out. Again, snap the ball right here. You see we got the drag. I can kind of playmaker him back or playmaker him up, and you see how that would be beneficial. The corner out's open a little bit late. Obviously, the tight end's not going to be super good against this computer style of defense, simply because they have 2 middle zones. Usually it would be one user kind of being forced to defend all of these with the style of defense that people are playing these days. But again, man coverage, the tight end's going to beat man coverage in that one-on-one situation. Just like so, just low ball it, possession catch, or you can actually bullet it. You have enough space to do that. Another way that you could do this is to cross A, go ahead and out B, and just kind of play it like this, where it's kind of a weird looking setup, but it still would work. Again, if it's man coverage, you want to motion that receiver out. I still can do something like this and get him open. You see how the drag's going to get wide open in that soft spot of the zone because our out route is pulling things completely outside. Depending on the coverage, the corner out can get open in that crosser, beats man coverage as well. Anyway, with that being said, we have one more setup out of this Z-Spot and Go play. Again, it is the most used play out of this entire offensive scheme. So, of course, I'm talking about it the longest. But yeah, we got one more setup. Now, this setup was running on the short side of the field, I believe. What he went ahead and did is he, again, flipped his bunch. Now, also something that I'll talk about later in the video and that I should bring up now is that a lot of times when he played, he would come out in the bunch on the short side and then flip it. So this can be used if you want a hot route. Like if I wanted X on a shorter post, I would put him on a post, then I would flip it, which we'll talk about later. But a lot of times just to mix up the adjustments, make him readjust, flip it, and then you can kind of snap it quickly. So that's something I do recommend. But for this setup, it was actually ran on the short side of the field. Our setup is going to go ahead and be post B, drag X, smart route RB, and block your running back. So here's a look. We got a drag, kind of this backside deeper post. And then we have the short side corner out. Short side corner out's really good against cover 3. So you'll see, just take a look at that separation. Flats open, drag coming across. Now also when you do something like this, because we come out in our bunch on the short side and we intend to run it on the wide side, usually your playmaker would be in this spot in the wide side bunch. So him being on a drag would be able to be playmakered. Again, definitely recommend getting that ability. But here's a look. And a lot of these are 6-man protections. So even if he's sending heat at you, you can block him relatively easily. You have that extra guy blocking. So overall, a lot of 6-man protections in the offense. I believe Dreeny sent a lot of heat that game, so it makes sense. But yeah, that's going to be the setup. I'll show it one more time. Again, short side bunch setup. You could obviously go with the setup on the wide side if you choose to. But again, we're just going to go over all the setups that he ran. Specifically, here's a look. Again, just drag, flat, smart route RB. Can easily check down, take your 5 yards. But yeah, overall, that's going to do it for Z Spot and Go. Let's hop into some other stuff now. Also, right now, I think is a good time to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying all the free content I bring you, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It would be much appreciated and is the best way to show support to the channel. If you are new, if you are a continued watcher, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. Join the community. We are on the road to 14,000 subscribers. And yeah, overall, drop a like if you enjoyed the video as well. Anyways, back to the video. Now, the next play I'm going to go ahead and talk about is going to be spacing switch. Now, there's really one setup for this. Again, the main plays are Z-Spot and Go and Flood. If you wanted setups out of like double post, I have videos showing other setups. But again, just focusing on what he did. And spacing switch was used a good amount. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the running back hot routes. Finally, we're going to go ahead and flat Y, block a tight end here, and we're going to out RB and curl B. So here's a look at the setup. Pretty good spacing concept, and especially when people are going with double flat setup. So for example, they would do something like this, just for reference. 3-man rush, 2 flats on the ends. This would be difficult to user, puts a lot of stress on the user. We got a flat that's going to kind of get open, and then we have this little hitch, kind of a hitch. It's almost a spot route on that left side. And then we have the backside curl on the right. Right there, the hook curl is obviously going to take that right curl, so we're going to throw it to the left. For example, if I go ahead and just flip it a little bit, I'm going to go with hard flat on the left and hard flat on the D-line left. In that case, you would go ahead and probably throw the curl route. So again, when people are only putting one user, one yellow zone in the middle of the field, this is a great way to take advantage. Again, RB on an out route, B on a curl, and flat your running back just like this. Right here, you see he's going to go over to the left side. I could actually throw it to the left. There's enough space for that. But the curl is open as well. Just read where he goes. If he ever overcommits a little bit to one side, you throw it to the other. Overall, good quick snap setup as well. I'll show it one more time because this is the only play out of spacing we're going to actually run. And again, pretty simple, just like this. If it is man coverage, you can lowball it a lot of times and press Y for that aggressive catch so that they run back to the ball. Could also low ball and possession catch if you have enough space and they don't have acrobat. But yeah, it's going to do it for spacing. Again, I only had this one setup for this. That was the only setup that he ran. So that's the only one we're going to talk about. Let's move into flood though, which will be the second most used play in the video. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come out on the short side again, something that we do, that he does, which again I brought up earlier. So here we're going to go ahead and put B on a backside post. That's all we're going to do. We're going to flip it back. And then we're going to hitch RB and just block our running back. So here's a look at our setup. Pretty simple. You see we got a little, oh shoot, forgot to hitch RB. But here's a look. We got that deeper post. And again, this would be better simulated in a 2nd and 3, a 2nd and 5 situation. So our post is breaking a little bit earlier. It's going to be better against man coverage. Unfortunately, I don't have that accessibility, but I hope it's something that EA adds soon. Anyways, here's a look at our play art. Pretty simple. For this play, you're not going to really use any motion, so we're just going to run it stock, snap the ball, and decent combo. You see the hitch can get open. Again, this is going to be putting a lot of stress on the user in those situations where they put one yellow zone in the middle of the field, only their users alone. They're going to have to defend that post. First things first, if it's a cover 2, go deeper. And then they have the hitch to in route. They're not going to be able to cover that much space in a short amount of time. Again, the setup, we came out on the short side of the field out of our flood play. We went ahead, put B on a post, we flipped it, and then we just hitched RB and blocked our running back, and we just went ahead and snapped the ball. So you see when you flip, you're going to be able to get that quick snap off, very simple. Again, we're going to check down in that 2 hook curl situation. In the next setup, I'm going to go ahead and actually create that 1 hook curl setup, so you'll see something's going to get open. But again, you block your running back, you put B on a post, and then you can flip, put RB on a hitch. So I can do pretty much all of those adjustments before I flip the play. So right when I flip, I can just be spamming it and get the ball off as fast as I can. Again, let's run a coverage like this out of a cover 3 shell, snap the ball, and boom, you see I could even low ball B. I have enough space for that. Imagine if it was 2nd and 5, and then when I smart routed that B post, that's going to be even shorter, going to be even more of a throwable ball. But yeah, it's going to do it for our first flood setup. Let's move into another one. Now, out of our next setup, it's going to be kind of a similar concept to the Z Spot and Go. We're going to take bits and pieces from it. Our first setup is going to be something like this, where as I'm in the wrong play, but here we go. So you're You're going to hitch B, and then you're going to drag X. So again, we have the in routes instead of our corner route. We keep our flat, and then we put B on a hitch. We're going to go ahead and motion out B right about here because we don't want the hitch and drag. We want to have enough space to kind of throw these at their separate marks. Again, you're going to playmaker that X wide receiver. We've gone over that. Anytime he's on a drag, I'm intending for you guys to use that playmaker ability in Ultimate Team with that Deion Sanders or Dak Prescott if you have that quarterback playmaker. But again, be on a hitch, block your running back, and drag X. Relatively simple enough. Motion him pretty much as far as you can. You see it'll still create him wide open, even if I didn't have that drag. So if I were to playmaker him back to that side he was originally on, I would still be able to throw that hitch. Late play situations, I could hit that out route to flat combination. But yeah, I'll show it one more time. Here is a look at our play art. Pretty simple. Motion AB out. You can snap him even earlier. You can lowball that drag, or can playmaker him upfield or back to the side. But yeah, let's move into our last flood setup, and it's going to be another flipping concept. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and post X, and then we're going to flip Y. So it's going to look like this, or flat Y, excuse me. So we're going to post X, and we're going to flat Y, just like this. Then we're going to flip our play, and we are going to go ahead and hitch B, just like this. Here's a look at our setup, pretty simple. Really the difference is we have a flat to post route combo rather than just a block running back and drag X. This is, again, for people that send two people. And you see post route's going to be open, even with a late read, late throw, and two hook curl zones. We're able to fit it in relatively well. Again, make sure you come out on the short side. This is something you can only do with Hot Route Master. Put X on a post, flip it, flat Y, hitch B, and then you're going to motion B out if you can. If you want to just go with the quick snap, you definitely are more than welcome to do that. You can see gives us a little bit more space to hit AB, whereas the drag was kind of congesting it a little bit. So it depends. And again, if they were to double flat, which we've mentioned a lot here, double flat setup, we come out in it, we flip it, and overall just the flipping is very annoying. For the defense, I hate people that flip because I have to reset my entire adjustments, especially if I'm going with a complicated defensive approach, going with 6-7 adjustments. I have to reset those. It's going to completely throw off. So here's a look at what it would look like if they had one hook girl zone or one user. They're going to have to respect that post route. And when he's been on a drag all game, they're not going to expect that short post route. But yeah, it's going to do it for flood. We got one more setup, and it's going to be out of the mesh post. So mesh post, here we are. Our setup is going to be block A, smoke screen your outside receiver, and hitch RB. Pretty simple enough. You're just going to snap the ball with no motion. I can check down to X or throw it to Y depending on who that outside zone picks up, as holy crap, we almost take that to the house. But yeah, it's just, again, a similar play to spacing. You're going to run most of the setups out of Z-spot and go in flood. But similar to the spacing, we have just one setup that you can consistently go to, and it's going to be annoying. So he's going to have to respect this play if we run it enough. You can't just completely take it out of the equation. So it's always good to mix things up. I can check down to RB. And again, depending on the coverage is what you will throw. Let's go with cover 2 now. Cover 2 or man coverage. Now, this play is not very good against man coverage. You really only have one route that you can go to, which is the post route, and it can easily be taken away with a user. But again, zone with one person. You see, look at the hitch route, just wide open right there. Again, just another good spacing concept. Gives you options. That's what you want. You want to have options. So even though we only have one setup out of these particular plays, you can still go to them a heavy amount. Obviously, Z-spot and go and flood are the focus, but don't be afraid to go to these plays. You see, as we fit it in, and we get the worst animation in the game. But yeah, I'll show it one more time. Again, we'll switch to like a cover 6. Let's just go with something random. Obviously, someone wouldn't run it. Or even, let's just go with the cover 3 double flatted, which we've shown a lot. Here's the look, what you would see. And obviously, if it's double flatted, it's not really going to be super open on that left-hand side. So we're going to go more to hitch to post route. We'll check down, and boom, you see a lot of space. I could also have hit B. But yeah, it's pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned earlier, follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. And yeah, let me know which pro scheme you want to see next. Peace. I'm out of here.